What up, it's Guru Jojo, and in this particular video I'm going to be speaking about self-love versus, it's not even versus, self-love and self-care. And the only reason why I thought about this topic, keep in mind, it's not to criticize anyone or anything or to claim that one is better than the other. It's literally just something that I've thought about and came to some conclusions, and perhaps it can help people to see where they may not be given enough attention to and where they may be giving too much attention to. And then other people, maybe they can see where they're very balanced at and deserve a little round of applause. Congrats, good for you. So basically, self-love, self-care, they get confused a lot of the time. They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing, actually. Self-love has to do with value, treat yourself. Self-care has to do with care, nurturance, health, well-being. They're not the same. Just because you implement self-care, that don't mean that you are implementing self-love, and just because you're implementing self-love, that don't mean that you're implementing self-care. So self-love is dealing with anything that is related to the vibration of love. This includes money, food, tangible resources, anything that is of value to you. Any sort of indulging in these resources, that is self-love. Right? So anytime we are indulging in any particular resource that gives us a sense of pleasure, therefore treating ourselves, this would be considered self-love. So self-love is something that we learn pretty early on. I feel like as we get older, as we learn to implement things like relationships, compromisation, and just integrating within the constructs of society, we can lose touch with those early principles that we were taught. Because self-love is something you learn literally when you're a little ass kid, to be completely honest. You learn self-love. It's like one of the first things. You learn that you have power in this life to act upon things, and then you realize that you want these things. You tap into that vibration of desire. And once you tap into that vibration of desire, you are now connected to self-love. You start to want, and then what happens? You get enrolled in school, and then you learn that you need to share with others, and then that's when you start to now form relationships. I remember the little saying when I was a little kid, sharing is caring, right? That's when you're now breaking from self-love into love for others and wanting to exchange with others. This is as simple as going to the store, okay? Also in exchanging via transaction. This is where you are now taking your own sense of love and you're giving it up to exchange it for a love that you do not currently have, right? So in a more mundane, realistic perspective, you go to the store, you want a bag of chips. So then you take money out of your wallet, or you use your credit card, you swipe it, or you give the cashier or yourself check out the money, and then you pay for the chips, and you got chips in return because you exchanged it for your resource. So that's exchange of love. Self-love is like, I don't need those chips, I'd rather just keep what I have, or something like that. Or self-love could be literally like buying mad chips, like you're indulging in chips for yourself because you love yourself that much. But the thing is, self-love deals with pleasure. It's when you feel that the best source of showing love to yourself is through pleasure. And this could actually be a problem in relationships, because what happens is you think that that's what everybody else wants in relationships. So you may not know how to show love any way other than to show that person pleasure. So give them money and resources and stuff, and then you may be pissed off, when you don't get back that pleasure that you're wanting in return. But you're on a different page because you could be indulging too much into self-love in that case. Now, on the other hand, another way of expressing indulging in self-love. So remember, self-love itself is a good thing, especially for particular groups of people, which I'm going to go over next. But another way that people can indulge in self-love is through not being able to properly interact with transactional situations. So what I mean by this is they don't understand exchange. So you think that your self-love, you have so much self-love that you don't understand that you need to give up something to get something back in return. So these are the type of people who go to the store and they may steal things. These are the type of people who may go to anything and they may not understand that they need to give in order to receive. And a lot of times this occurs from a lack of having, maybe in early childhood or in a particular situation that they have not healed from. And thus, they kind of perceive life in that way now. Like it's just by default, their mind operates in that fashion, naturally speaking. So, these are the type of people that they don't understand that something costs this and they should give what it costs in order to receive it. They just think like, I don't agree to those terms, so I'm gonna just take it. These are self-righteous people. So too much self-love can cause self-righteousness to a fault. So again, there's nothing wrong with self-love, especially for these particular groups of people. If you're a person who is very self-critical of yourself, so if you're a person who is constantly critiquing yourself, whether it be directly or indirectly in your mind, you don't feel worthy of things, if you don't feel deserving of things, if you have a problem feeling a sense of righteousness, a sense of confidence in your life, then you should practice a little bit more self-love. I'm not saying that you should go out and steal. That is indulging in self-love. That's improper behavior. What I'm saying is that you should start to implement in treating yourself here and there, meaning that, if you really don't have a problem, like, you know what I'm saying? Some people will be complaining about their body and ain't nothing wrong with their body. Some people will be complaining about like stuff that I don't even understand. And it's just because you're comparing yourself too much to others. If you don't appreciate yourself enough, if you don't see, enough of your beauty, whether it be inside, out, or both, then you need to implement more self-love in your life. You need to practice that in your life. You should add that to your daily ritual in some way. And by ritual, I mean like schedule. It's not that serious. So, a lot of Virgos could be very critical of themselves and others, to be honest. Like people who have Virgo traits, meaning people who are workaholics, people who are nitpicky and stuff like that. And maybe very, they think a lot, they think too much type of people. High-strung, anxiety type of people. Okay, these are like your Virgo traits. Practice more self-love in your life. Now, on the other hand, people who indulge in so much self-love that their relationships are messed up, and I'm not speaking on people that at a distance. Okay, there's the difference between having personal relationships with people versus people that are at a distance that seem to be your friend. Those are two different types of people. This is basically like groups of people of like-minded interests and stuff like that, and fans and stuff, or followers, versus people you personally know. Two different concepts. I'm speaking, if you can't form personal relationships with people, most likely you have a self-love issue, meaning that you're indulging in particular behaviors and habits that cause people to distance themselves from you. So, if you notice that type of stuff happening, right? If there's issues with your health, everybody has minor health issues, but I'm speaking on if you have health issues and you still are indulging in self-love habits, meaning that you could be having problems with your health, but you still choose to ignore the issues because you feel like treat yourself and you're literally like dying. maybe for some people, you know, when you're at the point of hospice, that's different. I think it's pronounced like hospice. Like, you're about to die anyway, so that's the reason why they shoot you up with goddamn drugs to make you feel comfortable, because yeah, you need to implement self-love at that time because you're about to be gone. But it's like, for some people, it's like they still have chances, and they still keep indulging in self-love. Like, there's some people who literally live their life like they're on hospice, like 24/7. That's indulging in self-love. Like, you're not at the hospital, like you're not in a hospice, like, you know. So that's, you know, that's a problem. But you know, if you're a person too who's often criticized by others, so you could be a person who you may not necessarily be so critical of yourself, but maybe others criticize you a lot, and that has now caused you to be more critical of yourself. Then yeah, you should practice more self-love. And by what I mean by people being critical, I really want to stress this, because a lot of people only understand things through direct ways. And I'm telling you this right now, the direct expressions are not the problem. People understand when something is being directed at them. Like, if somebody comes and punches you in the face, you, like, unless you like get knocked out or something like that, I don't know, hopefully if you would wake up, you would remember who punched you in the face. But if somebody directly punches you in the face, you see who punched you in the face. That's not a problem, right? What's the problem is the indirect aggression, the indirect expressions. So what I mean by this is that it's not the people who openly criticize, it's people who may indirectly criticize. So I'm gonna give a little bit example. Let's say that you're a person, you're a baker, and you made cupcakes at this little get-together gathering type of thing, right? And you have person A who eats the cupcakes, and they're like, wow, this is really good. Wow, I'm gonna get a second cupcake. You really hooked these up. Then you got person B, right? And person B eats the cupcake, and they're like, wow, this is really good. Wow. Yeah, I really like this, and that. But you know what? This is really good. I'm going to be honest with you, but I'm just saying maybe you should use shortening instead of butter, because that would make it a little bit more moist. And I think that these would be perfect, but these are really good, right? That's called constructive criticism. Person A just completely complimented you, which this is a good thing. Person B gave constructive criticism. There's nothing wrong with that. If you had a problem with that person's constructive criticism, you have a problem. Now, person C eats the cupcake, right? And they just don't say anything, let's say. They don't say anything at all, but they eat the cupcake and they finish it, right? And so now let's say that later on you come back around the area where person C is, right? That just ate the cupcake and didn't say anything. And then let's say that you come back around that area and they eye you. You see them, you see that they saw you, and then they're like, oh man, my stomach hurts. Like, see, these are the type of things I'm talking about. That's a person who's operating through indirect criticism. They didn't say that the cupcake was bad. They didn't say anything. They ate the cupcake. You saw they ate the flipping cupcake. Okay? And it looked like they enjoyed the cupcake, but you see they didn't say anything. And then as soon as they see you again, they're going to try to say their stomach hurt. Mind you, you saw them eat 4 plates of food or something like that. Maybe that's why your stomach hurts. Maybe you ate too much food. But they want to contribute it to your cupcake. Like you saw what they did. That's a type of indirect criticism. And, you know, these are the types of things that a lot of people who go through that type of stuff, if you go through situations similar to like what I explained, you probably need to implement a little bit more self-love, because indirectly your love is being snatched from you. Okay? These are stuff like what people say is like black magic and stuff. That's what that is. It's that stuff you can't see. It's dark. You see, you did not see, that person did not directly smack you in the face. They indirectly smacked you in the face. And even if they didn't mean to criticize you or something like that, their poor mannerisms still like cause that situation to be indirectly critical. Now if you're a person who's like smart, you can take the fact that, yeah, you saw them eat 4 plates of food. You could basically put 2 and 2 together to make yourself feel more, to make yourself feel less critical, because you just have that ability to do that. You know what I'm saying? You have good memory and you saw everything that pretty much happened. You were easily able to put 2 and 2 together. Like, this person's full of shit. That ain't my problem that they ate that much food and now they want to blame it on my cupcake. You know what I'm saying? It's stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and further explain how the example with person C is a form of black magic. So by person C not saying anything and then further proceeding on to say that their stomach hurts, whether it be in front of you or not in front of you, what's happening is, even though you may have experience enough to know that their stomach pain could have been contributed to something else, such as the fact that they had 4 plates of food or whatever it be, whether it be that they're making it up in order to produce that type of negative opinion on you, others may not know that. So if that person is an influential person in some sort of way, people will then be influenced by that person's reaction to, you in a particular circumstance, in which this situation I'm speaking on, your cupcakes, and thus now everyone's opinion is being completely switched up by that person's reaction. That's black magic. Because again, you may know what contributed to their stomach hurting, but other people don't think like that. Other people are not thinking that way. So you're only thinking that way because it's your particular situation, but other people don't care. They're just looking to understand how to judge a particular situation, because people can't friggin' think for themselves for some reason today. That's black magic. It's a person who is subconsciously influencing a negative opinion on you. I wanted to bring that up because a lot of people, they don't get it. They don't get like these subconscious things that influence them. That's a subconscious thing. That wasn't something you're consciously being affected by. It's subconsciously affecting you. If you go through situations like that, you definitely should work on self-love, because there's people behind the scenes that are trying to take away your own sense of value. Now, when it comes to self-care is different, because self-care doesn't necessarily involve self-love. However, I am going to provide an example of a way that self-love and self-care is integrated. But first, I want to speak about self-care specifically. So self-care deals more with your health and sense of well-being. A lot of times we're taken out of our sense of pleasure. A lot of times we're taken out of our sense of our comfort zone in order to maintain good health. And so, for example, if you go to the doctor or something like that, you may have to get a shot. You may have to be put out of your comfort zone. This is opposing the energy of pleasure, like what is related to self-love, in order to maintain care and concern for your own bodily health. You may need to pay money in order to see a professional that specializes in the care of your body. And also too, self-care has to do with the health and well-being of your physical vessel, your physical body, which is your first sense of home, because you are a spirit inside of a physical vessel, but also the home that you live in, so your space that you actually reside in outside of your body as well. So this would have to do with that too. And the care and the maintenance of that may take you out of that vibration of self-love. Sometimes self-love, having a heightened sense of self-love, can help to construct a proper sense of self-care. Operating at a lower vibration of self-love can cause you to be selfish, ignorant, and destroy your own sense of well-being and bodily health, and your own home space as well. Because when you're indulging too much in your habits and stuff, right, you can now start to not care about your home, not care about your body and stuff, because you start to have a preference, or you start to prefer basically the feelings of pleasure over the long-term effects of what can happen to your sense of health and well-being. So do you see where these two things actually clash, but they actually can go together very nicely too? So for example, going to get a manicure or pedicure is kind of like a nice implementing of both self-love and self-care, because you're maintaining the maintenance of your nails and stuff and your toenails and whatnot, make sure you're not getting calluses and stuff. That is a form of self-care. And it's also very comfortable to get a manicure and pedicure, except for like certain parts is uncomfortable. Like I hate when they do that thing where they push down the skin. I hate that. It's like, I hate that part. And it kind of tickles too, when they do the thing with your feet. But anyways, besides the point, for the most part, it's a comfortable procedure. They give you a massage, a hand massage, a foot massage, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And plus, I'm maintaining the care of my skin and nails, technically, right? Like your skin, because nails are actually a form of skin. So anyways, that would be an example of a combination of self-love and self-care being implemented together. This is all that type of new, what would they call it? Like, there's a name for this, and I don't feel like looking it up because I would have to but it's anything that has to do with alternative healthcare. A lot of times is like that. Like for example, getting a massage, doing acupuncture. Acupuncture really ain't uncomfortable. Maybe everyone's different, but those needles don't hurt. Things like getting a massage, going to a spa. There's different alternative types of healthcare that I feel like implements a little bit more of that self-love. I don't know about chiropractor. I've never done it. It looks like it kind of hurts, but a lot of people say it doesn't. Like it's very comfortable or whatever. So I don't know. Okay, but those are ways where self-love is being in combination with that self-care concept. Now, in addition to the whole self-care thing, right? Self-care, it involves things like bravery. It's one of those things where it involves bravery and patience, because a lot of times just, going to see a professional doesn't immediately resolve an issue. And, you may have to have repetitive visits. For example, I always go to the dentist. I don't always. That's the reason why I had a goddamn root canal a couple of weeks ago, because I did not go to the dentist for a little while. But, when you turn 27, you get knocked off your parents' insurance plan. So that's the reason why I haven't been to the dentist in a while. So, I finally went to the dentist because your teeth are very important. I learned a couple years ago about how people really neglect the health of their teeth, but at the end of the day, you're swallowing your saliva constantly. So I'm not speaking on things like braces and stuff. That's when you're starting to get into more things like beauty. I'm talking more specifically about the health of your teeth, and maintaining clean teeth is really important, because you could start to disrupt the health of your body from your teeth not being cleaned. You know what I'm saying? A lot of smokers and stuff, they are starting to rot their teeth, and you're constantly swallowing your saliva. You're swallowing toxins when you're doing that. So I'm always concerned about my teeth because of that, because, I have self-love and I may indulge in candy here and there. More so when I was younger. As I got older, I became more disciplined because I was concerned about self-care. But in general, I still get concerned about my teeth, because I'm like, damn, if I have a really bad cavity or something, am I swallowing a bunch of toxins or something like that? So, you have to make sure that you're not doing that. And so that's why your teeth health is very important. So I was at the dentist a couple weeks ago, and, I had got scheduled for a root canal, and I had a root canal. And then they told me I had to get a deep cleaning, because I have a permanent retainer at the bottom of my teeth. So they need to get behind the permanent retainer or whatever. So it's been a lot, and it's not comfortable. None of those procedures are comfortable. I had to do all these goddamn x-rays because I haven't been to the dentist in a little while, so they had to redo all my x-rays. I had to take like over 10 pictures, and I'm not complaining. I'm just trying to literally explain how I'm being taken out of my comfort zone. Okay, you have a bunch of crap in your mouth in order to take these goddamn x-rays and stuff. It's uncomfortable, and this is to be concerned of self-care, because I'm concerned about my self-care. Now, you know, self-love would just be like, screw that. Like, it is what it is with my teeth. I'm still gonna eat candy. I'm still gonna drink bad stuff, like sugary stuff, and I don't care. Like, screw it. See, that's overindulging in self-love versus being concerned about self-care. So the main things I was trying to bring up in this video is, self-love involves with love for the self, indulging in the self as it relates to one's pleasures, indulging in habits, and any sort of values and tangible resources, luxury, but in regards to the self, okay, rather than sharing and being fair with others. So if you helped me with this, I help you with that. If you want this, then I should give you that. Some sort of balanced exchange in some way. Versus, self-care on the other end, where you're now being concerned about yourself. And this may have to do with now detaching from the concern of others because you're concerned about yourself. Think about it. When someone is sick, you don't give a shit about other people's health. When you're not feeling good, when your mental, because it doesn't have to be physical, when your mental, emotional state of well-being is not well, you do not care about others. You don't have concerns for others because your health is at stake. Because your health is at stake. So that's the main things I want to go over in this video, because I feel like a lot of people misunderstand this. They think like if you're involved in self-love, and that means like you care about yourself. No, it don't. You may actually not care about yourself because you're overindulging in self-love, and then by default you don't care about others either. And then you may have a lot of care for yourself so much that you don't know how to treat yourself. So you're neglecting self-love. So you see, these are two concepts that I think in being a human being, we need to learn how to integrate in this life. Even if you're an alien, which when I say alien, I'm not speaking on, a person who's illegal in the country. I just mean somebody who has a different mind, a unique mind. They may think differently than other people. For those who take things so literally. So yeah, that's what I want to speak about in this video. Thank you for watching. Blessings, light, and love to everyone. Peace out.